Welcome back, and now we're going to start on session 3.2, selection criteria and queries. Now, let's take a look at figure 3-16. When we're setting up a selection criteria for queries, or basically what we're looking for, a lot of times we can't just type in the words we're looking for. For example, like if we're looking at this particular listing of record selection criteria, we have to put in an operator, okay? And as we know, an operator over here to our left, okay, we know these from standard mathematical equations. We have equal, all right, if we see a less than or greater than, okay, that means not equal to, okay, because we can't put an equal sign with a slash through it, okay? So we have to type it in less than, greater than, okay, is not equal to. All right, then we have less than, of course, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And if you're looking for something in between two values, like between 1 and 5, you use between, and then the number, and then the word and then the second value or number, okay? Then we have in, and then a left parenthesis, okay, if it's in a list of values, okay? And then like, matches a pattern that includes wildcards, okay? So let's take a look at these. All right, for example, if we have a listing of information, all right, and through that listing of information, we're looking for the words hall, okay? That means we're looking for any and everything that has the word hall in it. So equal, quote, hall, quote. And a lot of times you could just put in equal hall and it'll automatically put in the quotes for you. But it's a good habit to get into to put the quotes where you need them. All right. If we don't want something, we want everything but the word hall, okay, then we'd put in not equal to hall, okay? And then the next one is less than January 1st of 1999. Okay, so that means that it's older than. Less than or equal to, that one's pretty straightforward. Greater than, that one's straightforward. And say so is greater than or equal to. All right, but between two values, so if we were looking for, say, the number 75, all right, would it show up in our in our record selection criteria between 50 and 325? Okay, so it would show up any values that we would have, including our 75, all right, of between those two. All right, if we have a list of values of Hall and Seeger, okay, then it's going to find everything in a list of values that meets Hall or Seeger. Okay, and then matches a pattern that includes wildcards. So we want anything that is like 706, it starts with 706, that and after, okay? So anything that has 706 to start with, all right, then that is going to be an item that will be selected for our query. If you took a break last time, make sure that you have your Riverview database open. And once you get that open, then we're going to click on Create, Query Design, and we're going to choose 3 different tables. We're going to choose Owner, first of all, double click, Animal, double click, and Visit, double click. Then close. We're going to resize our list so that we can see all of the fields. Now we're going to add the different fields that we want to the query. Now remember, we don't have to put them in any order. So we're going to start off with the animal table, and we're going to use animal name, double click, animal birth date, double click, and animal type, double click. Next, we're going to visit table, and we want visit date and reason. And last but not least, we want the owner table, and we want first name, last name, and my touchpad's being a little fussy, so remember we can click and drag it down to where we need it. Okay, so either method works. All right, and then we want phone and email is our last field. Okay, so let's double check these. We want animal name, animal birth date, animal type. We want visit date and reason. We want first name, last name, phone, and email. Did everybody get that? Good. If you did forget one or you didn't include one, well, that's the same thing. But anyway, remember if you forgot phone, you can always come back up here and double click on it, bring it down here to your design grid. And remember, you can go to the top of your grid in that column, get the down pointing arrow, click on that, and then just click on the one you want to move. If you want to move more than one, you can highlight, then let off of it, then go back to the top of that particular column, click on it, and then drag it where you need it. Okay? If you end up with a blank area, a blank column, okay, you can just highlight it, click right, and then cut it, and that takes that out. A couple of different ways that we can move things around. All right, so the next section is to enter the exact match condition and then save and run the query. So we're looking for something specific. All right, so we're going to click the animal type criteria. Okay, so we're looking down here at the field and we find animal type. And then you notice that criteria is over here. We want to be in the column, the animal type column. Click on the criteria. All right, and what we're looking for is dog. Okay, now you can put this in quotes. It'll automatically put them in for you though. All right, then you're going to press enter. See, it automatically puts your quotes in. All right, now we're going to save the query. It's asking us what we want to save it as. We're going to type in dog, animal, type. Press enter. Right, that adds it to our query list. And then what we're going to do is run our query. And this finds all of the animal type dogs. And remember, this is very similar to what we did in 3.1, but just in a different way. Okay? Plus, it also enables us to be flexible in how we want our different fields to show up in our query. Okay? So just FYI. Now, let's look at how we can modify a query. All right, so on the Home tab, which we've already got that up, all right, in the Views group, we're going to click on the View button or click on Design View, so that toggles it between the two. All right, and we're going to click on Animal Type Show. Okay, that removes the check mark. All right, so it's still going to find those records with the value of dog, but the query results will not display the field animal with dog in it. So Now we're going to position the pointer on the first name field selector. Okay, and we're supposed to position the pointer on the first name field selector and then press and hold the mouse button. Okay, now this is what we've talked about before. We get the dark line, okay, or border. We're going to drag that to the left until the vertical line representing the selected field is to the left of the animal name field. So we want to go all the way over here, right before animal name field, and then let go. Okay? So our first name field moved. Okay? Now we're going to point to last name, and we could do these together. We're going to drag it over phone and email as well. So we're going to choose all three. Like I told you that we can select more than one. Okay? Once you get it highlighted, then you're going to click on the field selector at the top. Okay, it's that little bar at the top. Okay, we're going to click on that and hold down our left mouse button, and we are going to move it between first name and animal name and let go. And now we have all four of our owner table fields together to the left side. Okay. Now we're ready to run the query. So now we don't have the field dog anymore, but we do have all of the other information, and we have the four different columns, or our four different fields, first name, last name, phone, and email, showing first, and then we see the information regarding the animal and the date of visit, birth date, reason, diagnosis on the right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save that, and we're going to close that. And I had an extra query open, so I'm going to close that as well. Okay, so the next thing that we're looking at is Kimberly is going to, she's wanting us to create a new query where animals of all types have not been, or animal types have not been to the care center recently. So her staff can, this allows her staff to follow up with their owners by sending them reminder notes or emails. So we're also going to check and see if any visit date value is less than January 1st of 2017. So what we want to do, first of all, is use a query that we've already used. What we're going to do is right-click on dog animal type query. It's going to give us some options. Okay, what we want to do is we want to copy this. We want to use this as a base of another query, because we like what we have in the other one. We just need to add to it, but we need to keep the old one. Okay, so we're going to copy it. We're going to right-click near the empty area near the bottom, okay, down here in this white space, okay, and we're going to paste. And it shows copy of dog animal type, but we're going to call this earlier visits. And press enter. And then we're going to open that query, double click it. Looks just like our dog animal type, except we have a different name on it. All right, so we're going to close the navigation pane so we'll have more room to work. And we want to display the query in the design view. Okay, so you can do this a couple different ways, but I'm going to click on design view that way. All right, so a couple of things that we need to look at. First of all, we want to go down to visit date, and we're going to check to see if there is anything that is less than January 1st of 2017. So our criteria is right under the box. All right, we're going to do less than 1/1/2017, and you need to put it in exactly the way the data shows. Okay, don't put it in, you know, like 1/1-1-17 when it doesn't show that way. Okay. Okay, now we're going to tab, and we want to tab to the animal type field. All right, we're going to delete out dog. All right, and so we're going to click on the show. We want that field to show again. And we're going to use the pointer to select the animal type field and drag that field to the position left of the visit date field. Okay, so animal birth date, animal type, visit date, and then reason. Okay, click off of that, and we're going to run. Now there should be a total of 34 records if you notice down at the bottom down here. And we're going to compare it to figure 3-25. So if you look at figure 3-25 and your screen, okay, and you can double check on your screen, you've got the first name column, last name, phone, email, animal name, animal birth date, animal type, and we do have the dog showing up in our list, all right, our date of visit and a reason diagnosis. And then the next thing we want to check is, did the information come up with everything that is older than January 1st, 2017? And we notice that we have everything from 11/8/2016 all the way down to 12/21/2016. So it did come back accurate. So we're going to save this and we're going to close. The next thing that we're looking at is defining multiple selection criteria for queries. Okay. What if we're looking for more than one condition? Are we looking for all of the horses that were taken care of in January of 2017? Okay. So we're going to take a look at that. What we need to work with now is logical operators, the AND logical operator and the OR logical operator. So let's take a look at what we mean by that. So the first part of this that we're looking at is the AND logical operator. Say we've got criteria that we're looking for in two different conditions. For example, okay, say we're shopping online at Amazon or eBay and we're looking for some Converse shoes that are purple. So when we say that we're looking for Converse shoes that are purple, okay, not any other color, but just those two things I need to check, our criteria would be they have to be Converse and they have to be purple. Okay, they have to be both or they don't show up in my query or my selection. Okay, so if you look over here to the right, all right, when I'm matching it, like if I'm out at Amazon, it's going to go through everything and it's looking for everything that's Converse shoes, all right, and they're purple, all right. So it has to meet both conditions, all right. Are they satisfied? Yes, then it selects the record. If it's not, it doesn't select the record and it doesn't show up in our list. So that's AND, okay? The next one is design grid using the OR logical operator. Back to Converse and purple. Let's say that I'm looking for any type of Converse shoes and I'm also looking for some shoes that are purple. But my Converse shoes don't have to be purple. They can be any color, all right? And I'm looking for any shoes that are purple and they don't have to be Converse, okay? So this is what we're looking at as OR, okay? I can look for Converse shoes or I can look for purple shoes. Are one or more conditions satisfied? So when we run our search, okay? Maybe on a shoe.com. So I'm looking for any shoes that are Converse and any shoes that are purple. So what does Amazon come back with? Or what does shoe.com come back with for me? Right? They bring me all the shoes that are Converse and all the shoes that are purple. Because they can be Converse or they can be purple. So it brings me back both. Okay? So one or more conditions satisfied. Is the shoes Converse? Are they purple? They don't have to both be that way. They can be either or. All right? So if one or more of the conditions are satisfied, then they select the record. If not, they don't select the record. So that's the difference between and logical operator and or logical operator. Now, we're going to create another new query. Yes, we're creating lots of queries on this lesson. All right, we're going to click on Create, Query Design, and we're going to add owner, animal, and visit. So double click on owner, double click on animal, and double click on visit. Then we're going to click on Close. And remember to expand these to where you can actually see all of the fields. I believe these are short enough. No, we have to go down a little bit further. Okay, so we can see all three of our tables. Now we're going to add animal name and animal birth date, first name, last name, and phone. And then visit date and off-site. Now we need to click the animal birth date criteria. And we're looking for anything that is greater than or equal to July 1st, 2015. We're going to tab 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's for my benefit. And in the off-site field, in the criteria, we're going to put in yes. Okay, so we press enter and run. Now let's compare our list to figure 3-28 in your textbook. Okay, it shows bison 1 through 5, Jersey 1 through 5, and Cheviot, if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry, I'm not completely a cow person. All right, 1 through 4. I'm probably saying it incorrectly, but so anyway, it found all of the animals' birth dates that were equal to or less than July 1st, 2015. And then we also, anything that was off-site. So, and typically, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the veterinary's office, but larger animals they tend to actually visit them off-site. So like horses, cattle, anything that's large. So now we're going to save this, and we're going to call this younger and off-site animals. Press enter. Right, and we're going to close the query. We just did the AND logical operator, and now we're going to do an OR logical operator. And we're going to use the younger and off-site animals as our basis. So we're going to click right on younger and off-site animals, click right and copy, and in the white area at the bottom, click right and paste. Okay, and we're going to call this one younger or off-site animals. And press enter. Right click on younger or off-site, and we're going to click left on design view. So in our design grid, all right, we're going to take out yes on the off-site visit. And we want to notice that we have a row underneath criteria that is or. So we want to go to the off-site field and go down to or, because we don't want it in and, we want it in or, either or. So we're going to type in yes there. And we're going to click the right side of the animal birth date sort. And we want it to be descending. We want the newest to the oldest. Okay. And then run the query. Now our results came back a lot more. Okay. We actually had a few that came back that were not off-site visits. We found the records with the birth date fields greater than or equal to July 1st, 2015. Okay. Right here. All right. And records that meet both criteria, okay, which includes off-site and met the dates that were we had set up. The next section that we need to cover is changing a data sheet's appearance. The first thing we want to do is modify the font size. Most of what we're covering is very similar to Word and Excel. So on the Home tab in the text formatting group, we're going to choose our font size and change it to 14. Now if you notice, that makes our font a lot larger. So what we're going to do is click on the datasheet selector, which is in our upper left hand corner, and that selects all of our columns. We'll go in between any of the columns and double click, and that will automatically adjust all of your columns. And then to unselect, just click anywhere in one of your fields. Now, just like in Word and Excel, we can use themes, which includes colors, fonts, and other effects that enhance an object's appearance and usability. Basically, it changes the way it looks. But it does it all in one selection. So to change the alternate row color in our data sheet, you can see this in your textbook in figure 3-31. We're going to use the alternate row color button arrow. So what we want to do is on the Home tab in the text formatting group, we're going to click on our alternate row color button, which is this one right here. If you hover over it, it'll show you alternate row color. So we're going to click on the down arrow key, and you notice that it shows you all of your different colors. Okay. So we're wanting to choose green accent 6, lighter 60%. So we can hover over these. This one's lighter 40%. There's 60%. So it's the second item, second green in the second set of theme colors. So green accent 6, lighter 60%. And that gives you alternating colors of green every other row. Now we're going to save this. This is our younger or off-site animals, and we're going to close it. Now we're going to get into something a little different. This is creating a calculated field. In working with Access, and we want to create a calculated field, there are a couple things that you need to know. First of all, for numeric expressions, when you want to create those, you can use your data types, but you can only use number, currency, and date and time. Next, constants must be written as numbers. Instead of 2%, 2 with a percent sign, for calculations you have to enter it in as 0.02. Use your standard arithmetic operators, plus, minus, multiplication, and division. Multiplication is your asterisk key, which is normally shift plus the number 8. And your division key is your /, which is located also down by your right shift key. Now, the order of your expression is like your standard arithmetic expression. So whatever's in parentheses will take precedence first. So 1 plus 1, you'd have 2, and then multiply that times 5 would be 10. If it is written without parentheses, okay, multiplication division takes precedence. So 1 times 5 is 5 plus 2 equals 7. And lastly, if you have the same operators, then you take that in the sequence that it is from left to right. 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 times 1 is 15. So these are some of the basic rules when you're using a calculated field within Access. In getting started with this, we're going to go up to Create and create another query design. We're going to use Visit and Billing this time. So double click on Visit, double click on Billing, close, expand if necessary. And we're going to add the following fields: Visit ID, Animal ID, Visit Date, Invoice Item, Invoice Paid, and Invoice Amount. So you should have 6 different columns. Now in the Invoice Paid criteria box, we're going to type in no. So we'll know whether or not they've paid. We don't want now, we just want no. Press the Escape key. Press your Tab key to go to the next field. All right, click the Invoice Paid Showed to uncheck the check mark. And then save your query. And we're going to save this as unpaid invoice late fee. Press enter. And we're going to use the expression builder to create the calculated field for the invoice amount. So we're going to click the blank field box to the right of the invoice amount field. On the Query Tools Design tab, we're already on that, we're going to click the Builder button. It's in the Query Setup group. This is your expression builder. This is where you actually put in, if you don't have simple expressions or equations, you can actually put those in here and it can add some more advanced expressions that you need. So we're going to double click on invoice amount. Okay, notice that they're in brackets. In an expression, all field names must be enclosed in brackets. So we're going to put in, we're multiplying this times 2%, Make sure your cursor is in the expression builder box. Type in an asterisk for times or multiplication, and then put in 0.02. So you have invoice amount times 0.02, which is 2%. You're going to press on the OK or press enter. Actually, just click on OK. When you've created your calculated field, if you know it shows express 1 and then your invoice and amount times 0.02. Okay, you're going to click to the left of the text express 1. At the beginning of the expression, and you're going to press delete key 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to remove express 1. And then we're going to type in late fee. So it'll give it a more accurate expression or more accurate description of what this shows to be. So on our query tool design tab, we're going to click on the property sheet button, which is under show hide. And I accidentally showed the table, so close that if you did that. Okay, so over to the right, this is our property sheet. It's very similar to the property sheet that we used in the beginning of working with Access when we do our view and setting up our tables. So in the property sheet, okay, this is where we can change our caption, okay, just like we could in our standard view. All right, we're going to click caption, and we're going to type in late space fee. This will enable us to see this with a space, but in actuality, behind the scenes, it is still, the text is together to accommodate Access's rules and regulations. Okay, so now we're going to run the query, and we see that we have our late fee for anyone that hasn't paid. Okay, let's double check it and make sure that it's accurate. If you look at figure 3-35 in your textbook, we've got our visit ID is correct, animal ID, date of visit, invoice amount, or invoice item, sorry. Invoice paid is supposed to be turned off. And I missed that invoice paid needs to be turned off. So it's very easy to miss a step. So, and then late fee. So I want to go back to my view, and invoice paid should be turned off. And then we're going to run it again. Okay, let's check and see if that looks better. Okay, invoice item. Okay, we've got the column that needs to be not showing, it's turned off. Invoice amount and late fee. That looks much better. Now what we need to do is format our calculated fields. So we're going to switch to design view again. And in the design grid, click in the late fee calculated field to make it the current field. Okay. On the Query Tools Design tab in the Show Hide group, we're going to click on Property Sheet, which our property sheet's already up. All right, and in the property sheet, we want to click the right side of the format box to display the list of formats. So we're going to, and we want currency. And we're going to run the query. And if you notice now, our late fee has a format for currency with a $ and 2 decimal places. Let's go on to the next section, which is using aggregate functions. An aggregate function is basically allows you to perform arithmetic operations on selected records in a database. Now, from using Excel, you know what some of these are. Okay, the main one that we've been using is like sum, okay, by automatically adding everything within a column or within a certain range. So then we also have minimum, maximum, count, and average. So we're going to work with several of these. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to close our unpaid invoice late fee and save that. And we're going to open up our billing table. Make sure your home tab is displayed. In the records group, we're going to click on totals. And if you notice at the bottom of our database or our table, you notice that it puts in a total row. Okay. Now in the total row, we're going to click the invoice amount fee field, not fee, field. And an arrow appears. We're going to click on that and it will give us a list of things, aggregate functions that we can use. So the one that we're going to choose is sum. This makes it really easy to be able to add this. We end up with $12,015. And so in the records group, click the totals button. And that turns off our total and it's removed from the data sheet. Okay, so we're going to close this without saving the changes. No, do not save the changes. All right, so we're going to create a new query in design view, adding the billing table to the query window. And then we're going to resize the billing field. Okay, so create query design and add the billing table. Now, what we need to do, we're going to do 3 of these. We're going to do 3 different aggregate functions. Okay, and what we're going to do is select invoice amount, close your show table first. Okay, invoice amount, we're going to double click it 3 times. And it adds us 3 different columns down here. Now on the Query Tools Design tab in the Show Hide group, we're going to click on Totals. And that adds us a new section or a new row down here called Totals. In the total row, we're going to specify the aggregate function we want to use for the field. So the first one that we're going to do, all right, and the right side of the first column. And it is going to be minimum, which is MIN. And in the first column's field box, we're going to click to the left of invoice amount. And we're going to type in minimum, no space. Hopefully you're typing better than I can. Minimum invoice amount. And make sure you put the colon in. And we want to widen that column. So you guys remember how to widen the column. Just go in between it and double click or click right. So on the query design, we're going to click on property sheet and under caption box, we are going to type in minimum invoice amount with the spaces. Just AMT. And then close your property sheet. So we're going to do our second one, which is invoice amounts. Click on the group by, and we're going to choose average. Okay, and click to the left of invoice amount and type in average invoice amounts, colon. Widen that, resize it. All right, and go to your property sheet and type in under caption, average invoice amount, AMT. And then our third and last one, we click on group by, select your down arrow. And this one's maximum, or MAX. Click to the left of invoice amount. This one is maximum invoice amount, AMT, colon. Go to property sheet, caption, maximum invoice amount with spaces. And then once you're finished with that, we're going to run this and see if it comes out the way we want. Okay, so we need to widen these so that we can see what each one of them says. If you notice, I missed something on maximum invoice amount, so I need to go back to design view and put in my caption. I put that in, but I must have missed it. Invoice amount. And then try running it again. Looks much better now. Okay, let's double check our figures from figure 3-40. Our minimum invoice amount is $15. Our average invoice amount is $59.48. And our maximum invoice amount is $275. So that's good, but we need to save this query. So click on Save, and this one's called Invoice Amount Statistics. Press OK. We're going to keep this one open, and we're going to use record group calculations. All right, so we need to create a new query with a group by operator. So we're going to display the invoice amount statistics query in the design view. Click the File tab. And this time we're going to save as and try it a different way. We are saving it as an object because it is a query. All right, so if you'll notice that, click on Save As, and it's saying a copy of, and we're going to call this one Invoice Amount Statistics by Offsite. So I'm going to take out this first part, just backspace over it or delete it. Invoice Amount Statistics by Offsite, and press Enter because it is a query, so we want to make sure that's the right object. Okay, so if you notice, we have invoice amount statistics and then the one by offsite. Okay, so that's another way of saving it. Now, what we want to do is on the Query Tools Design tab, we're going to go to Show Table. Now, if you're using the newer version of Office, you just click on Add Tables instead of Show Table. So we're going to add the Visit table, close Show Table, drag the Offsite field, see the Offsite field right here, from the visit field list to the first column in the design grid. And that automatically inserts that. Okay. So we're going to run this query because we're wanting that with offsite. All right. And it shows us offsite visit, whether it's an offsite visit or it's not, and then what our minimum, average, and maximum are. So if you'll notice in your figure 3-41, we should have the check mark for offsite visits on the first row, $25, $61, $67, $75, and the next one is $15, $57, $61, and $275. So it looks good. So we're going to save this query and we're going to close it. And we have our navigation pane already open. Or mine is. If yours isn't open, make sure you go ahead and open it. All right, so we want to go over a couple things regarding the navigation pane. So right now, this is what's standard that automatically comes up. What's default? What's the default? All right, you can hide the display of groups objects by clicking the button to the right of the group name. Right, so if you'll notice here under all access objects, okay, we can click on the down arrow key and that gives us some more features regarding our navigation area. Okay, so right now we have object type selected and it's also filtered by our tables. Okay, so we're going to try a couple of different ways to do this. So in the navigate to category section, we're going to click tables and related view. All right, and that shows this a little bit different. The navigation pane now is grouped into categories of tables, and each table in the database, visit, billing, owner, and animal. So this is our first one, and this is how it is linked with other objects, query, reports, etc. Okay? Now, let's try something a little different. Click on your down arrow key, all tables, and this time we're going to click on owner. So now it searches it by the table owner and then anything that's associated with owner. So it's pretty cool that you can actually search for it depending on what your needs are at a particular time and what table that you happen to be working with, or if you need to see all of the tables to be able to search through them. Okay? So we're going to go back to object type. Okay, and the last thing we want to do is compact and repair the Riverview database. So we go to Database Tools, Compact and Repair Your Database, and then we want to close the database. And it'll say this action will cause Microsoft Access to empty the clipboard. Do you want to continue? And yes, we want to double check everything and you should be ready to upload to SAM. Let me know if you have any questions or any problems. Hope you have a great day.